CyHawk Gameday is sponsored by Nissan.
Welcome into CyHawk Gameday, Week 11 in college football. Cyclones on the road at Texas Tech, a sneaky trap game there. Jeff Woody not in-house because his voice has to recover from all the cheering he was doing out at the Iowa State-Texas game a week ago. We'll talk about that Iowa State matchup in just a bit, but the Iowa Hawkeyes are at home against the Gophers today, and that's where we start today. Colin Cahill is in Iowa City, where the Hawkeyes will start with a new quarterback. Colin?
John, it's a little bit colder than the last time we were out here about 3 or 4 weeks ago when Purdue came to town. The attire for everybody out here that I've noticed has changed. We're seeing the heavy coats, hockey jerseys, the gloves obviously, and some hot hands. And you talked about that new quarterback. They're going to need some hot hands out of Alex Padilla today as he gets going for his first career start as an Iowa Hawkeye.
November football is really important. Team's got to be getting better at this time of the year.
Could this team be getting better with a backup? Padilla went 18 of 28 for 172 yards passing. Not exactly blowing up the stat sheet, but for the first time in 3 weeks, the Hawks offense found the end zone twice in a game.
When I first got here, he was mainly the only quarterback going to Keegan and I. So I think we got our relationship going early, and then him now starting out of the blue, I think it definitely helps that we started that in January as soon as I got here.
Padilla's favorite targets, 2 freshman wide receivers.
Yeah, they've earned everybody's confidence just through their play, and they practice the same way. They're focused. They're beyond their years focused, and take practice really seriously.
We're going to break down what Alex Padilla is going to have to do in order to get the big win today here as the Hawks take on Minnesota. Battle for the Rose of Floyd's. We're battling for the pig today. That's the big thing. And John, we're going to be hopefully staying warm out here for the next couple of hours as well. And Padilla, I'm sure he's going to have to keep warm for most of this game as well. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Colin. The cold can numb your mind a little bit. That's the Floyd of Rosedale, the Brass Pig. As for the Cyclones, well, we know what to expect. A high level of compete, one of the most competitive in that ISU locker room. Charlie Kohler. Don't believe me? Just ask the team. The man has zero chill.
You know, I'd like to roast Charlie for a little while right now, you know, on probably all of them, because I know he gives me a lot when he's up here. But, yeah, you know, I just think for Charlie, what is so impressive about Chuck is he's as high end of a competitor as I've been around. Now, my favorite story is this summer. He's it's him and Eisworth playing me and Mike Rose in pickleball on my driveway, okay? Now, I am undefeated, so I'm going to state that right now, especially at home. And we get down to the last point, and you would think we are literally playing 4th and 1 on the 1-yard line. Now, we won. Me and Mike Rose won and beat him, so make sure that makes the whatever this is going into. But the fact of it, his reaction for an hour, he was so mad and wanted to play another round, but we weren't playing another round because I'd won. It is over. But, you know, I just think the moral of the story is he's an elite competitor.
You know, me and Cam were together. We go down, had to be 6, 7, 8 points, come back, win. And Charlie wanted to keep running it back, but, you know, we wanted to finish on top, so, yeah.
Did Charlie take it that hard?
Yeah, Charlie, he struggles with losing. You know, he's been getting a little better, but whether it's pool, pickleball, literally anything, he's sometimes, you know, you got to tell him to grow up a little bit.
Charlie loves competing in little games and everything, and sometimes it's annoying just to, you know, play against him in whatever we're doing, like board games or, you know, just in the players' lounge in pool. Like he's broken a couple pool sticks and thrown the cue ball after losing. So it's fun though, always competing with Charlie.
As my camera operator Jake just said, it was the Chuck roast on Tuesday. Let's take a look now at kickoff today. Cyclones kick off at 2:30 on ESPN2. They're a 10.5-point favorite against the Red Raiders. We'll talk about our picks a little bit later on. Iowa hosting Minnesota 2:30 as well. That game airing on the Big Ten Network. Both have big implications on the conference title games, and we're actually going to break down what it takes for the front runners in the Big 12 and Big 10 to make it to those title games. That's next here on CyHawk Game Day.
Get on your feet for country music's biggest night.
The CMA Awards, with collaborations you'll only see on this stage. The CMA Awards live Wednesday on ABC.
Hanson's has been helping homeowners protect and cherish their homes for over 30 years. With durable, energy-efficient, and weather-resistant windows, roofing, and siding, all backed by a lifetime guarantee. With thousands of 5-star reviews, we're your trusted home improvement expert. For 2 weeks only, we're celebrating Veterans Day by giving everyone up to 60% off installation, plus no interest and no payments until 2023. Offer ends soon.
Call 1-800-HANSONS. Get it done.
Just outside of a town called Basic is Basic Lake, where families gather together for some basic fun. And if you have the 2021 Nissan Rogue with 5 drive modes, you can climb above Basic and find a trail where no one else goes. The 2021 Nissan Rogue. Anything but basic.
Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on 14 models, or save up to $42.62 on select models.
How do you use your energy? Celebrating the people you love? Mixing up smiles? Making each day brighter than the last? At Alliant Energy, we bring more clean, renewable energy to our customers every single day to power what matters to you. Because even during the most powerful moments in our lives, we're not thinking about power, we're thinking about each other. Alliant Energy, powering beyond.
Chanu's diverse background is so important to him. He is the first male Hmong anchor in the country, and he wants to share the stories of Hmong people, but also all diverse cultures, to tell the stories of all of the people of Iowa.
Alrighty, welcome back in. We're going to take a look at the Big Ten West standings, and it's kind of muddled there at the top because you got 4 teams at 4-2 on the year. And we're going to start by talking about these Iowa Hawkeyes, who can still control their own destiny to get to Indianapolis. Right now, 4-2. They need to win out, especially today against Minnesota. But on top of that, you need a Purdue loss, and you need Wisconsin to lose. That is quite possible, especially considering Iowa's got Illinois left. And then when you look at Purdue, they've got Ohio State today. Wisconsin still has to play Minnesota later on. That brings us to Minnesota. It's that easy for the Golden Gophers. Just win out. They have Nebraska left, I believe, to play. They have Wisconsin the last game of the year. That game will decide quite a bit. That does bring us to the Wisconsin Badgers. They, too, just need to win out, all right? It's that easy for Wisconsin and Minnesota. Now, let's say Minnesota loses today. Well, then it gets a little bit more complex to all of that. And then you're looking at a possible Iowa trip to that Big Ten title game because Purdue is not going to win today. Let's talk about the Purdue Boilermakers. They need to win out completely, plus they need a Wisconsin loss, plus they need that Minnesota loss. I don't like their odds of pulling that off. They also would have to beat Ohio State today. I do not see that happening. So that's kind of how the Big Ten West shakes out. We'll see how it kind of plays out over these next 3 weeks as well. But right now, Wisconsin the front runner in my mind. Then you've got the Big 12 race. This one, a lot more complex. Top 2 are in. 4 teams all in all reach out. OU at the top, but toughest stretch of the year ahead for them. Let's talk about the Iowa State Cyclones to begin with. All right, we know they have to win out, but they also need a Baylor loss. Let's say Baylor wins today. Well, then a little bit tougher. You need OU to beat OSU in that Bedlam game. Keep in mind, if Baylor loses today, Iowa State wins out. They get the winner of Bedlam in the Big 12 title game. So then let's take us over to, I believe we got OU next. Let's pull up the next one. There you go. Win 2 of their final 3. The Sooners just need to win 2 of these last 3. I think they win today against Baylor. I don't think they beat the Cyclones, so that means they have to beat Oklahoma State at OSU. Then that's going to take us to the Cowboys. They need a 1 Iowa State loss this year, all right? That's what they need because Iowa State has that tiebreaker over the Cowboys from that win back in October, plus they have to win 2 of their final 3 as well. And then that does bring us to the Baylor Bears, who I think have the toughest road of any team in the Big 12 to get there because you need 2 OK State losses. I don't know that happens. Of course, Baylor would then have to win out as well. Keep in mind, I don't think a 3-team Big 12 team is, or 3-loss Big 12 team is making that Big 12 championship, but Iowa State certainly in control of their own destiny from here on out. Win today against Texas Tech, and that game against OU next week down in Norman becomes a really big one. Going to be a lot of fun to see how the Big 12 plays out. We'll have more of it on CyHawk Gameday, plus a look at the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones next.
When when severe weather hits, have the #1 TV news app at the ready. The We Are Iowa app is rated highly for its usability.
It's easy to navigate, the layout is clear, and not cluttered with all sorts of extras.
With its interactive radar, you can track and stay ahead of the storm, receive continuing updates, and watch live broadcasts right from your phone. Get We Are Iowa's most accurate forecast on the #1 TV news app in Des Moines. Download the We Are Iowa app today.
Generation after generation, hundreds of thousands of people across America have turned to a family in Iowa for help honoring life's big moments. Weddings, anniversaries, birthdays. The brilliant gemstones, jewelry, and gold boxes from Joseph's always shine bright. Through 5 generations and 150 years, the family of jewelers at Joseph's have helped customers discover timeless gifts that speak volumes. Without question, Joseph's.
With the McDonald's app, it's almost that easy. Order ahead on the app and pick up curbside or drive-thru to get 2 times the deliciousness with a tasty McDouble. And small helping of our always crispy world-famous fries for only $3. That's an unbeatable deal, right in the palm of your hand.
It started in 1937. A female business owner, an immigrant, and a dream of a store based simply on truth and doing right by others. Over 80 years later, we still follow that philosophy. By your side as times change, but the golden rule doesn't. This is the start of new memories. This is home.
Alrighty, it's nice and warm in the studio. I can't say the same about Iowa City right now, and that's where we find Colin Cahill. The Hawkeyes gearing up for a big game against the Golden Gophers, one that, as we just stated, could decide the conference down the stretch. Colin, break this one down a bit more for us.
It's a huge game, but we're going to start out with the big talker this week, which is Alex Padilla starting at quarterback. Everything's on the line here. Trophy game, Big Ten title positioning on the line. But the simple thing is he just can't be a hero. Don't try to be a hero. Debut quarterbacks under Kirk Ferentz are 9-2 since 2000. That's a great stat for him. And then last week, what we saw out of Alex Padilla was that he was decisive in his reads. Mostly one read, gun it. That was based on what they did. They kept it simple, which is more decisive than what we saw out of Spencer Petras. And that isn't a knock against Spencer Petras. Petras knows the offense. He goes through his progressions a little bit more, but sometimes it honestly looked like he was kind of overthinking what he was wanting to do on each play when he just needs to fire in. He's got 2 great wide receivers, and they're freshmen, and they can go up and they can get those catches. And that's what we need to see Padilla do today. He just needs to stick with that quick delivery. I mean, last week, let's also talk about that game. He went 18 of 28 for 172 yards. It's a great start. People, though, they're all really excited about his mobility. He's not Lamar Jackson. Let's be real, guys. But what we need to do is just better protect him. And then also Minnesota, they don't have much film on Alex Padilla, which could play a big key in it. They've only got 1 game to look off him, and I don't think Iowa showed a whole lot. Even though he did throw the ball a good bit, they still didn't show a whole lot. They were very basic, very base offense. Then we're going to move on to the defense here, and we're going to talk a little bit about Phil Parker. Phil Parker every single year has put a top 15 defense on the field. Iowa wins when the ball hawks come to play. Last week, they came to play. Dane Belton had 2 interceptions. Jamari Harris had his first interception. Jamari Harris was the 10th Iowa Hawkeye to get an interception this year. That's right, 9 games through the season. They've got 10 different guys that have got interceptions. That is a great testament to what Phil Parker does with his defenses. He just puts everybody in position. Jamari Harris is 4th on the cornerback rotation, and he's got an interception. So that should just say how good Phil Parker's defenses always are when they're on the field. He might need his own statue up here in a few years as well. His defenses just always outperform. And the anticipated return of Riley Moss, one of those big-time ball hawks, part of the Doughboys as well. Veteran starter. We don't know if he's truly 100%, but just having him on the field for half part of that field is always good for him. And then the players on defense love the home crowd. Last time we were here, obviously against Purdue, the crowd was loud, but against Penn State, they all talked about how loud that home crowd was. And helping them kind of get in the head, get in the minds of the opposing offense. And then I think Jack Campbell, he's going to be a guy that's going to have a big day today. I'm thinking 15-plus tackles with what Minnesota does for this RPO-style offense. He's going to have to be very, very active throughout the entire day. And just some fun points here as well as we can get to them here. The last time Minnesota beat Iowa, 2014. President at that time was Barack Obama. The Cubs, they still hadn't won a World Series in 100 years. And the top song for Pharrell's Happy was the top song. I think that was on the radio just about every single other song. And then the last time the Gophers won in Iowa City, 1999. So I think we were worrying about Y2K. And then some of the movies that came out that year, we don't want to talk about it, but Fight Club. And then The Mummy, The Green Mile, great movie there. And then George Lucas created a beloved character named Jar Jar Binks, debuted in the Phantom Menace as well. So it's been a long time since Minnesota has won here in Iowa City. 1999. I was 6 years old, John. I'm not sure how old you were at that point, but it's been a long time. It's going to be tough. The weather's going to keep this to be a low-scoring ball game as well, but it's all going to depend on how Alex Padilla comes out and plays. John, back to you.
All righty, thank you, Colin. I was 10 years old. I think I was in 5th grade at the time. And no, I do not remember Minnesota beating Iowa at Kinnick, and let's try and keep it that way. All right, thank you so much. Still to come, a look at 2 record setters at ISU, plus our 3 keys a little bit later.
Nobody likes putting life on pause, but that's exactly how it feels when you're sick or hurt. At Mercy One, we build an expert circle of personalized care, with urgent care clinics open 7 days a week. More care locations than anyone, and easy telehealth visits with your doctor, so you can get exactly the care you need and keep right on playing. Schedule your visit at mercyone.org.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in, like #1 selling Kubota compact tractors that can do it all right, Z-Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and the Sidekick utility vehicle built for hard work and fun at 40 miles per hour. Kubota equipment lives up to the highest standards. Yours. Visit your local dealer today.
Tis the season to break tradition in a Cadillac. Don't just put on a light show, be the light show. Make your nights anything but silent and ride in a sleigh that really slays. Visit a Cadillac showroom and start celebrating today.
Get 0% APR for 36 months, plus $500 purchase allowance on most 2021 Cadillac models. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
1, 2, 1, 2. Am I a hero for launching my new Caesar Sportsbook app? That's for other people to say. You are all heroes! And by that, I don't mean you're a sandwich. Caesar Sportsbook app of people!
Welcome back into CyHawk Gameday. A good day to be in Texas if you're the Cyclones. 70 degrees out there in Lubbock. Nothing to do down there, let's be real, but watch football. And if you're the Cyclones, don't waste a trip to the land of nothing, but come out with a win instead and get ready for Oklahoma. But let's talk about the best back in the nation. Yeah, I'm talking about Breece Hall. He's on the road to a major record, a major one at that, with elite company. Breece Hall has 21 straight games with a rushing touchdown. Backs like Derrick Henry accomplished 22 straight games. The record's 23, so Breece could effectively tie it next week at OU, but he has to run one in today against the Red Raiders. It is a crazy record, one that he can probably not care a ton about as long as his team's getting the win. Watching Breece run, he's deceivingly fast in the open field, has patience, can hit a hole as hard as any back, and he'll punish you too. Complete back, but he doesn't believe he's had his best game quite yet. Scary thought for defenses, considering he's run for 100 yards or more in 6 of 9 games this season, with long runs over 40 yards 4 times. Also, factor in he's had 2 rushing touchdowns 5 times this year. Breece is as dynamic of a back as you will find. As Brock Purdy said this week, he's going to miss him next year. I don't blame him. Hall should have a big day today against Texas Tech. We'll tell you more about that in just a bit. That brings us to the Defensive Player of the Year for Iowa State, maybe the Big 12. Will McDonald, the man is a force on the edge with his rush. We've seen him with back-to-back games having multiple sacks. He's now the career sack leader at ISU, topping Jaquan Bailey. Someone McDonald says taught him everything he knows. Today, McDonald will again need to let the offense feel his presence because Tech has had an extra week to prepare. So don't sleep fully on these Red Raiders, but McDonald can blow up a game. Texas Tech didn't give up a sack to OU back on October 30th, so pressure is going to be key. If they get stops, this one will go the way it should, quite frankly, because Tech has no defense whatsoever. As McDonald goes along with some guys like Mike Rose in there too, this team goes. If they swarm and make plays, there's no way Texas Tech stays in it. Fun fact, last 4 games, McDonald has totaled 17 tackles. 6.5 of those have been sacks. So nearly a third of his tackles are sacks in the last 4 games. Oh, then he's also forced 4 fumbles this season. The guy can do it all. He gets his hands up, bats passes down when he can't get to the quarterback. He's a complete defensive end, and I can't wait to see what he does on Sunday. Certainly going to be an impact guy today for the Cyclones. That is a look at the Cyclones. We'll come back with our 3 keys plus our picks for the day next on CyHawk Gameday.
Just outside of a town called Basic is Basic Lake, where families gather together for some basic fun. And if you have the 2021 Nissan Rogue with 5 drive modes, you can climb above Basic and find a trail where no one else goes. The 2021 Nissan Rogue, anything but basic.
Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on 14 models, or save up to $42.62 on select models.
How do you use your energy? Celebrating the people you love? Mixing up smiles? Making each day brighter than the last? At Alliant Energy, we bring more clean, renewable energy to our customers every single day to power what matters to you. Because even during the most powerful moments in our lives, we're not thinking about power, we're thinking about each other. Alliant Energy, powering beyond.
Hanson's has been helping homeowners protect and cherish their homes for over 30 years. With durable, energy-efficient, and weather-resistant windows, roofing, and siding, all backed by a lifetime guarantee. With thousands of 5-star reviews, we're your trusted home improvement expert. For 2 weeks only, we're celebrating Veterans Day by giving everyone up to 60% off installation, plus no interest and no payments until 2023. Offer ends soon.
Call 1-800-HANSONS. Get it done.
Bad information spreading online. Now you have the power to fact-check your social.
We have already verified thousands of social claims, and yours could be next.
We can verify.
We take claims, find sources, and get explanations.
Now we are verifying even more. Visit verifythis.com/email and subscribe to the newsletter today.
Alrighty, let's get right into these 3 keys. Iowa State, get the rock rolling, aka run the ball a whole lot. The Cyclones have one of the best backs in the nation. Just talked about him. We've talked about his insane streak with those rushing touchdowns. Keep in mind his numbers against Texas Tech are also crazy good. 46 carries, more than 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the 2 games he's faced the Red Raiders. So get that rock rolling. Then number 2, put it to bed early is my second key under Matt Campbell. Closest game Iowa State's played against the Red Raiders was a 9-point win. They blew out Tech year 1. Joel Lanning had 5 rushing touchdowns. Matt Campbell 5-0 overall against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And number 3, embrace this final stretch. This is a senior class that's accomplished so much over the last 3 or 4 years. They've got everything they want in front of them. Take care of business against Texas Tech today. Embrace today. Embrace the next game, and the next game one at a time they go. Let's see how it all shakes out. All right, time now to get back out to a chilly Iowa City. Iowa's 3 keys. Colin, take it away.
3 keys are easy today. First one, takeaway. Iowa has to win the takeaway game. They're so good at getting the takeaways, but when they aren't, they don't do well. Let's go to their 2 losses. Purdue, 4 interceptions on the day, only 1 takeaway. Wisconsin, 3 fumbles lost, no takeaways. When Iowa doesn't get takeaways, they can't stay in ball games. Even with Padilla, this offense is not built to lose that part of the game. It's that simple. Minnesota comes into the game just +1 on the takeaway department, 11 takeaways on the season, 10 giveaways. So they don't get a whole lot, and they turn over the ball a whole lot either. Number 2 is for Iowa to get the lead. They have not trailed in this series since 2016, which is a wild stat in itself. This year, with how the offense is playing, it is imperative that they get out to an early lead. Minnesota, they are 1-2 in games they don't score first. When they do, they're 5-1. Iowa, when they score first, they're a perfect 7-0. When they don't, it's 0-2. And it just goes back to that offense not being able to come back. And then finally, the last key is protect Padilla. If Iowa wants any chance of offense, this O-line has to protect Alex Padilla. We saw a little bit of that against against Northwestern. Minnesota, though, different test. They have 20 sacks on the year. They get to the quarterback. They know how to get to the quarterback. They're very, very big on that D-line. And then the O-line, though, they're not the only one that has to protect him. Brian Ferentz has got to do a better job at getting the ball out of his hand quick, maybe moving the pocket. He, again, like I said earlier, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can move around a little bit. So Brian Ferentz has got to do his job of getting this ball out into those two playmakers at those two freshman playmakers, and they have a chance at winning this game. And again, with the weather being like how it is today, I'm expecting a very low-scoring game. So Padilla's going to have to be just be himself, and he's going to have to get protected as well. So those are the three keys and what Iowa must do in order to get the win today in Minnesota. John?
All righty, thank you, Colin. That brings us to our picks for the day. Last week, a big day, going 4-1 with the pick 5.
Perfect.
Let's see if we can go 5-0 to get to the 500 record on the year. Starting in the Big Ten play, I like Penn State to win on the money line today. Yes, you heard me. They beat Michigan today. They return home for the first time in almost a month. Big win over Maryland last week. Michigan blew that game against Michigan State a couple of weeks ago, but I think this is a game James Franklin goes out and sees his team win. Baylor versus Oklahoma, big game for the Big 12. You know that, I know that, OU knows that. They win this one off the bye week. They have a game plan put together. I think the Bears got caught looking ahead last week. They should have lost to Iowa State earlier this year. I think OU knows this 3-game stretch does not get any tougher. They start with a win this week and cover the -4. Then we're going to go to an Academy game. Air Force Academy at Colorado State, coming off of a tough loss. The Rams give up nearly 140 yards on the ground. Air Force, they run the ball like 300 yards on the ground. They're favored 2.5. I think they cover here. CSU's lost 3 straight. Give me Air Force today. Cyclones at Texas Tech. Cyclones 10.5-point favorites. They're going to win this by 3 touchdowns, all right? That's what I'm calling. Texas Tech can't stop anyone. They hang for a 1.25. Then we see it break wide open. Haycock going to have that defense ready to go, and they'll take this one handedly. Lastly, Hawkeyes, 4.5-point favorites at home. That's at 100 odds, plus 100 odds. Vegas knows something here. I think Iowa's defense is different with Riley Moss in the secondary. Minnesota can be balanced if they want to be, but this is a game Iowa is built to win. Their front is to wrap up. The offense needs to sustain a drive, and they do that. Iowa covers. Maybe an alt line -2.5. 4.5 is the play today, though. Those are my pick 5. Enjoy your Saturday. We'll see you for week 12 next week on CyHawk Gameday.
We are Iowa.